boils down to, and I'll say it again, I just don't think that Beyonce has a role in a Marvel movie.
I don't think she's like a spectacular actress. I don't think that like it's going to be a big deal. I think if it were a thing, it would just be like a walk-on or a cameo. But it's cool to think about.
We're live in
We're
junk,
live.
so
Hi. Hello.
feel free to.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Internet. What camera are we on? Is there? Hi, Internet. Welcome to DotGeek.
I am Danni Danger.
I'm Mark Gardner. There's Josh.
What's up?
It's Josh.
Over there. That's Josh over there. If you jumped in the middle of this, we're talking about the rumor that came out. There's a rumor that Beyonce maybe had some interest from Marvel in being in a thing. No.
Which is really interesting to me because I mean it's fun to think about, and of course you get these fan casting or fan art. There's some fan art that we have of Beyonce as She-Hulk, like that's actually pretty.
Oh, I remember
yes.
that. That was yes,
which is also really compelling.
I remember that meme that came out where they just put her in anything possible with that expression because that is so She-Hulk right there.
It's wonderful, and I will say like
Isn't She-Hulk's hair green?
Huh?
No?
No, I don't think her hair's not green, is it?
No,
She-Hulk?
it's usually, or it depends on the rendering. Like sometimes it has a green tint or hue, but usually I've always understood her to be like a brunette.
We might need to do some research on the internet or something like that.
Some She-Hulk hair research.
Color of She-Hulk's hair. I mean, now that if you
I've
show me
Googled
that
She-Hulk's hair before. This is something I have Googled, I'm sure.
Really?
I can't imagine that I haven't.
I can't imagine you haven't either. Actually, just sitting up at night when She-Hulk's hair. Long story short. There's no way Beyonce is going to be in anything Marvel.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that the value of giving her like a cameo or a walk-on. A lot of people have been saying that it would be funny. It would be interesting to see her as Dazzler, as like a different iteration of Dazzler. You are very committed to what your idea of Dazzler should be. I don't think that your Dazzler and May cannot be the same.
But also, shouldn't Dazzler at this point probably be in her early 60s? I mean, Dazzler was a
you know who
should
Debbie
play
Harry as Dazzler?
Exactly.
Oh my God! Seriously, she is Dazzler.
She is Dazzler.
The face.
Yeah, no. Debbie Harry as Dazzler is.
Debbie Harry is Dazzler. I mean, let's get real.
I'll buy Debbie Harry. That.
Yeah, David Bowie actually is Mystique. Yeah, David Bowie is Mystique. Debbie Harry is Dazzler.
Oh, that's interesting. That's also a Venture's Brother riff. if you watch Venture Brothers, because David Bowie is a shape changer.
Yes,
he
is.
Really?
He is.
So he is Mystique. Yeah, no, I buy that.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
Although it's not actually David Bowie, it's a whole thing.
But I do, I think this is an interesting premise. Maybe they're just going to redo all of the Avengers with Bey just playing everyone. It's just going to be like a musical Avenger.
Realistically, who would Beyonce be in the Marvel Universe?
I think people aren't too far off with suggesting characters like Dazzler, where there is a music tie-in and there is an.
Can she not be Misty Knight? Can we not suggest a black character for a beautiful African American woman?
I think Misty Knight would be great, but I just don't. Again, I don't. If it's a thing, it's going to be like a very brief, quick, like walk-on thing. Hey, this is Beyonce, and I don't know that Marvel is going to be willing to spend Beyonce money on a cameo.
Why would they do it for a cameo anyway? And what value is there in a Beyonce cameo?
What value is there in a Beyonce cameo ever anywhere? The value of Beyonce.
None.
Look at her.
I know she's fierce, she's amazing. I get that, but ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, if I'm going to see a Marvel movie, if I'm going to see Avengers 28, I don't care if Beyonce is in that. I just don't care. That's just not the thing. I mean, she was great. She plays a great musician and singer. She is good on camera and acting as a musician and singer. I don't think I necessarily see here. Not Dazzler.
You hate it.
No, Taylor Swift would be a better Dazzler.
Taylor Swift would be an amazing Dazzler.
She would be an
amazing
Dazzler.
If we could just go ahead and put that out there into the world.
Taylor Swift.
T-Swift as Dazzler. I'm feeling it.
Kevin Feige. I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I apologize.
Very sorry. We're going to mispronounce it again in a few minutes.
Really sorry. That's going to happen more than once today.
Yeah.
But if we could just have a little bit of outreach to Taylor Swift about making an appearance as Dazzler.
Just saying.
That would be spectacular, and I'm pretty sure she'd be on board for it.
Well, and then this also calls into question, you've got, a lot of people, part of the rumor mill has been circulating that Dazzler would be the best character for Beyonce because of the music thing, but I think that Dazzler falls under the X-Men umbrella. I don't think Marvel has the rights to X-Men. I don't know if Marvel has the rights to Dazzler as a character.
You know what? The whole rights as far as who Marvel has the rights to and who Fox or Sony has the rights to. It is such a mess and a tangled web. I have no idea.
It really is. It's pretty stupid.
I don't know where the line is. Like, I think it has to do with when they were introduced. Like, was Dazzler introduced with the X-Men, or was Dazzler introduced with something else?
Well,
like,
it's like about title, I think, because Scarlet Witch is both, a character in the X-Men and an active member of the Avengers, an active established member of the Avengers. So she's joint property. They just can't do the same actress. It's a totally different, it's a different continuity.
But there was something I was reading the other day where, like, characters that you think are part of the X-Men aren't necessarily part of the X-Men because they were actually introduced in a book that was not related to the X-Men, and they later joined in the X-Men universe, kind of thing. So anybody out there that knows all this stuff, or if you know where we can find who has the rights to what and when,
well,
I want to know.
And by this train of thought, you could also, the folks who, is it Fox who owns the rights to X-Men, I believe? Yeah, Fox could also introduce Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers, and Spider-Man into their universe because he has been on, both of those characters have been on the X-Men teams.
Yeah, but...
So how that works is really interesting.
But it's got to be with the origin. It's got to be about the origin. Like, they buy the rights to the X-Men, the character that originated in the X-Men.
But then how can Scarlet Witch be in both?
I think that Scarlet Witch was not introduced in either one. When was Scarlet Witch
first
introduced?
Scarlet Witch was hinted at in because Quicksilver was introduced in both the Marvel movie cinematic Avengers universe and the X-Men movies Days of Future Past.
But in the comics, their first appearance is where the rights are tied. It's tied into the first appearance.
But again, Quicksilver is in both. He can't have had origin stories in two separate titles.
No, he has a separate origin from either one of them. He was originated.
But he's got the same origin story in the comic in the Marvel Comics universe.
Now he does. But did he, in his very first appearance in the comics, have an appearance?
Well, by nature, his first appearance can't be in two separate places.
Right. So he had a separate appearance, and that makes his rights available in both. It really does depend on the first appearance in the comics. So it depends on when they first appeared.
But then again, but again, how did they get into both? I don't understand.
Well, if you've got the X-Men over here and you've got the Avengers over here, he originated over here. The rights are not tied in with either one. The rights are up here with the original portrayal within the Marvel universe, and he's tied into both. I don't know, guys. This is confusing. There's some good articles out there. We could fight about this all day.
We could fight about this all day. Mark and I are arguing about everything today.
We really are. Today is just like, let's
argue. We're sibling fighting. I think we should just sit here for the rest of the episode and just do like this.
That's all
it's going to be the rest of the episode is us just slapping each other and Josh providing commentary. Stop it. Oh my God, I'm going to ninja chop you.
Nope, children. I do not want to separate you.
I will pull the studio
but I do not want to separate you. What are we talking about now?
All right. We're moving on because this whole the whole thing about the rights of characters between Marvel to who has rights for Sony, Marvel, Fox, whatever, we can't figure it out. So we're going to move on because speaking of Sony, the stuff about Spider-Man came out.
So there's been quite a bit of talk and buzz about the new Spider-Man movie, both in its own like Spider-Man title and in Civil War. They have confirmed that Spider-Man is going to be in Civil War, which is great because how the hell do you do Civil War without Spider-Man?
I haven't read it.
But Spider-Man's the one who switches sides and gets the metal spider iron suit. I wonder how. There's so many freaking characters in it. How are you going
to hate Tony Stark if Spider-Man's not in the story?
Guys, I want to remind you all, I hate spoilers. I'm just saying.
I didn't say anything.
The comic's like 10 years old at this point. If you haven't heard it,
read it. I'll loan it to you.
I still bet that 90% of the population hasn't read the comics.
And that's definitely true. And we won't. Spider-Man is a very pivotal part of Civil War. So the fact that he is confirmed for the movie is no shock to me. As soon as they announced that Sony and Marvel were in discussions about Spider-Man, I knew it was about Civil War. So that's not a shock to me. As well as the casting for is it Tom Hart? What is his last name?
It is Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yes.
Who is an actor I have never seen before.
Not done a lot.
But we're not surprised. But we're not surprised because we had a conversation about this a few episodes back, where Marvel is really not big on spending a whole lot of money, so they will go with lesser known actors. So I am happy and encouraged that we have cast Spider-Man
I think he
those
looks
are-
great.
Yeah,
he
looks-
totally nails
face
the
is
Peter
in the right
Parker
place.
thing. Yes, his face is like above
got
his
two
chest.
hands, he's
it's
got-
normal. He is not deformed. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There could be a deformed. I don't know, but it's it's not Miles Morales though.
So, and this is my concern. So there was an email leaked from Sony that basically discussed the necessary qualifications for Spider-Man, including that he had to be Peter Parker, which I feel like you could have just said has to be Peter Parker and left it at that, but they really went into he has to be white, and he has to be straight. And I have problems with this on a lot of levels because if you have already said that Peter Parker has to be Spider-Man, then why do you need to specify that he has to be white? That just sort of feels like being like, but just in case you weren't sure, we really don't want.
Well, look
a
at the
person of
Fantastic
color.
Four, though.
Well,
I
I think you do have to do that.
Okay, yeah. So, but
And
again,
but the reason they're doing it isn't because, like, I honestly think the reason they're doing it is because they still maintain some rights to the Spider-Man character. They're planning on using a white Peter Parker, even if it's a different actor from movie to movie.
yeah.
Then it's not as jarring for the audience, or it gives them the ability to say, okay, you played Spider-Man here, we really liked you, we're going to use you as Spider-Man on our side.
I guess more of my issue with argument is the need to specify that he has to be heterosexual. Because there's always this like sort of cis-normative assumption that like every character is straight unless proven otherwise, and I just don't necessarily even think that it needed to be mentioned. Like, who gives a shit if Peter Parker checked out a boy once?
It doesn't, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a couple of reasons. One, gay marriage decision by the Supreme Court is going to come down any day now, so it's top of mind for a lot of people in the United States. Two, statistically, if you had to bet if someone was gay or straight, just statistically, you should bet on straight because it is the predominant sexual identity. Now, there's you go Kinsey scale, you can go all up and down that, and you say people fall in various parts of that. How do you feel? But we are still living in a society that assumes straight because the majority of the people that you know tend to be.
So if you know your audience is going to assume that he's straight, why is it a necessary thing to put on a list of shit Peter Parker has to be?
Iceman is gay now. He wasn't before, but he is now. They're changing races. They're changing gender identity. They're changing with Thor. They're changing sexual orientation. I think they absolutely need to start spelling that stuff out because they're changing it all the time.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I don't think they're doing it to be heavy-handed. I think they're doing it because, you guys might be tempted to make him Peter Parker is now an Asian transsexual. Like, that could be a really interesting direction to take it. No judgment. However, for business purposes, we would like to maintain this as this.
So the big hubbub about the Sony leak, I think, is what it came down to was that there was a lot of fan hope that Miles Morales was going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. Because let's be honest, we've had 3 Spider-Man reboots in recent history, and they have all been the same. We're up to 5 Batman reboots now, where it's the same.
5. Wait, what was the count? We've got Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer. What's his name?
Christian Bale.
Sorry,
And
Christian Bale. Okay, Ben
So you
Affleck.
have
right.
you have these franchises that are being constantly rebooted, and nothing new or original is being done with the character. I mean, it's we've had 2 Spider-Man origin stories.
Can you really
now.
say that nothing original has been done? If we look at the entire Batman thing, can you really say that the version done in the past 10 years is different than Tim Burton's version?
It's not to say that nothing has been done. But when you talk about representation-wise, and you talk about like these characters, there was an opportunity to do something different and original and new and compelling with Spider-Man, and they chose not to. Now, that having been said, Peter Parker being the star of the next Spider-Man movie does not mean that Miles Morales could not be in it.
That's true.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just because you can do something does not necessarily mean you should do something. Just from a purely financial perspective, Spider-Man, right now, I never read Spider-Man. I never liked Peter Parker. I actually really enjoy the Miles Morales and Ultimate Universe Spider-Man. And frankly, the Peter Parker from that was good too. No spoilers.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But look, Peter Parker is still,
and Miles Morales.
you know, it will take several years and movie appearances and almost a generation for Spider-Man to not be Peter Parker. So,
you know, we had a very similar conversation of that the other day because I was making a very similar argument. It's like Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 60 years on TV, cartoons. How many cartoons is Peter Parker Spider-Man? So I do get that. I would love to see Miles Morales as Spider-Man at some point.
I'd be more interested to see them, like, if they're going to change something, stop with the goddamn alliteration. Like, give somebody, like, different, like, can it be Miles Jones? Like, Miles Morales, Peter Parker. Enough.
Stop with
Let's
the
not even get
alliteration.
into the overuse of the first name John in the DC universe. Like, seriously, you put all the Johns in a room together? What the fuck? Like, dude, seriously?
It's probably still statistically representative.
Right?
Yes.
So this is really exciting. So the thing about losing Miles Morales and not having Miles Morales for sure as the new as the new Peter Parker or as the new Spider-Man in the new movie, I think that it is I think that people are giving up hope too soon. I think there's something to be said for, you want to talk about the years it will take to usher in a Spider-Man that is not Peter Parker. I think we could start that now. I think we could start a new Spider-Man franchise that introduces Peter Parker, that gives him a backstory, and then something happens, and there's this Miles Morales character. Because the two, good writing, the two interact really, really well.
You're probably right.
And I think this could be evolution.
You could take that. We've already started that process technically if you want to see Spider-Gwen.
So I found you a graphic, by the way,
Did you?
of Spider-Gwen.
Is there a Spider-Gwen?
So someone
stand by.
made
Do we have a Spider-Gwen?
a Spider-Gwen graphic, and
Oh my God,
this is my
yes.
gift to you.
There you go, people. That is a movie I would watch the crap out of.
So that's the really cool
right
thing
there.
about the conversation about Miles Morales being a possibility in the new Spider-Man movie is then can we maybe hope for a Spider-Gwen? Like, can we, so here's my thing, I'm not necessarily opposed to any of the decisions that Sony and Marvel have decided to make with the new Peter Parker. However, if they don't do anything new or original or compelling, if they just retell Peter Parker's story for the third time in a row, if I get like screwed out of this, I'm going to be very upset. Like,
come on.
If I don't get this in my life, I'm
going
to be disappointed.
We've already seen Gwen Stacy. We already know what happens to Gwen Stacy. This is a thing that can happen. Come on, Sony. Let's get on Spider-Gwen. Or then,
you're really going to introduce alternate universes into the movie universe?
Does it even have to be an alternate universe? She's just, there's some way.
They're just going to resurrect her?
The Marvel movie universe itself is an alternate universe. So you can do whatever the hell you want with it. You can introduce whatever characters you want with it.
Here's a question, though, going back to the original thing. For Spider-Gwen, is that a Marvel-owned deal or is that a Sony-owned deal? I've lost track of who owns what, because she's a new character, but she was introduced in Spider-Man.
She was introduced in Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse is its own universe.
So then Marvel could own.
Spider-Verse is all the universes, and it
So then Marvel would
really
have the rights
confusing.
to Spider-Gwen.
Well, there's a reason that the Marvel universe ended, and they're starting
true.
over. They went
True.
full
It's
crisis
like,
on
I
it.
can't keep track.
They just got to that point.
But I do think there's a lot of hope here for a new, different storytelling. But I think it's really important. Like, if this is a thing that you want, it's important to talk about it. It is important to keep having the conversation of, I really want Miles Morales in this new Spider-Man movie. I really want to see Gwen Stacy in this new Spider-Man movie. I really want something new and different. And in my opinion, and it's hard to pinpoint and say, oh, well, if you want this, you should do this. Because it's really hard to start these grassroots, movements on social media to do things. But one of the great things you can do is support indie works who have already made a pass at making this good. We have an independent
the Miles Morales fan film.
The Miles Morales fan film.
Yeah, which is actually fun.
Really great.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's just a quick introduction. It's not too deep. It's not a heavily scripted thing, but it's just an introduction to the character Miles Morales, Spider-Man. It's great. It's fun. It's a cool little thing. It's well done. I would love to do a version or a fan film for Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. That would just totally do that. Josh, can we get some funding for that? No.
No.
I mean, wouldn't take that much.
No, the
Kickstarter.
spiders have never particularly interested me.
Not even Gwen?
No,
She's
she's
amazing.
dead.
No, she's great.
No one dies.
No one
Josh, let it
dies.
go. No one dies.
No, I understand
in
that nobody
comics.
dies. No, I'm used to that. Oh, y'all should welcome. I just made someone a mod on our Twitch page. So welcome Cookie Waffle Girl.
Hey,
Our
Cookie
first
Waffle
official
Girl.
mod
Two
for
of my
DotGeek.
favorite
Welcome.
things.
Cookies and waffles.
Cookies and waffles. If you could make them into one thing, oh my God, like a cookie waffle supreme.
That
Like,
has to be a thing somewhere.
Pretty sure that's a waffle cone.
I think-
is a cookie waffle.
I think you're probably right.
Is essentially.
I actually saw, there was something I saw on Pinterest where somebody put cookie dough in a waffle iron. Bam.
oh yeah, you can
Yeah,
put tater
that's a
tots in them. You
thing.
put all sorts of
Totally
things in a
happened.
waffle iron. Yeah,
Totally
yeah,
happened.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Welcome, Mod.
Yes,
I don't even know which
welcome.
camera I'm looking at right now. I've
That
lost
one.
track. Not that one.
Nope, that one.
one. Hi, there you are. All right. No. You did that on purpose, sir. You did that on purpose. Whatever.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. I'll switch cameras. Thank you. We need mods. Thank you. Welcome to the thing and the moderation thing.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, you guys check out this Miles Morales video. It's really well done. It's just a quick fan film. And who knows, maybe we'll kickstart our own fan film for Spider-Gwen.
You know, start some buzz. If you want to see Miles Morales in the new Spider-Man movie, the more you talk about it, the more likely it becomes. I think if anything has proven true over the last 6 months is that these studios are listening to social media. Social media has a real presence. So now what do we do with that? How do we make that work for us? How do we use that to tell studios what we want and influence the kind of changes that we want to see, because it is important at the end of the day. Representation is important. It is important for kids who go to a movie theater to see a Spider-Man movie or to see a superhero movie to feel like they can play as Miles Morales, or they can be this character, that they have the possibility of growing up to be this character.
If any of you are having questions about whether representation is really important, Glozell, who did the interview with the president not too long ago, she had a video where she went to Disneyland and she saw Princess Tiana at Disneyland for the first time. And just her reaction and talking about what it was like as a black girl not having anyone to look up to. And she was so emotional when she finally saw Tiana at Disneyland. Representation is important. Watch this video, learn about it. It's important that we have these people in there. So maybe we'll get a Miles Morales. I still want to do Spider-Gwen and Emma Stone. If you're out there watching, because I know you are, because of course you are.
World of Emma Stone, meh.
What? Meh.
Meh.
I disagree, sir.
Of course, it looked like Emma Watson when I first looked at the picture, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting. No,
Emma Watson? No, I think Emma Stone.
Anyway,
Anyway, let's move on. We got a lot of.
But
That's true. Emma Watson for all the things.
so speaking of Marvel and Sony and Paramount as well, San Diego Comic-Con is coming up next month, and we've got some really huge players that made some really big impressions last year that are dropping out. Earlier this month, Marvel said that they would not be attending San Diego Comic-Con. And last year was obviously a very big deal.
That was not last year. That was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It's always a big deal.
Okay.
Shh, Tom Hiddleston.
Sorry, it's Tom Hiddleston.
But now Sony and Paramount have also said that they are not going to be attending San Diego Comic-Con. And it's really a big deal because these last few years, San Diego is almost getting to the point where it has a reputation for overly inundating people with these.
Well, look at this crowd.
This is
ridiculous.
You cannot
You can't
possibly
move.
physically accomplish even a third of the shit you want to do at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, realistically,
just
you
can't.
can't do that at any Wizard World. Any of the conventions you go, there's always going to be more panels you can go to or anything. San Diego Comic-Con just takes it to the nth degree on that. I am going to say that I don't think it's that big of a deal that Sony, Paramount, and Marvel are not going to be there. It's not that it's not a big deal that they're not there. I just don't think they have anything to pimp. There's nothing for them to pitch right now, so there's nothing that they're going to spend a ton of money, because it is expensive to go there. To just go there, to just have a booth and not really promote
think
anything?
that's
I don't know.
sort
It feels like a power play to me. In all honesty,
well,
Marvel is basically saying we don't need Comic-Con. Like we've arrived.
Yeah.
We don't need to send Jon Favreau out to sell Iron Man. We've got one of the highest grossing films ever and have built this franchise out on every platform known to man. What does Comic-Con really give us?
That's true at this point. So then why would Sony and Paramount back out? Same thing, because they don't have the play that Marvel has.
But both Sony and Paramount have movies coming out that they could
But are they
promote.
Paramount I can't speak to. I think Sony is more interested in E3 these days than Comic-Con.
I think what it comes down to is that these companies are paying are paying an outrageous amount of money to be at these conventions, and there really isn't actually any sales payoff other than just marketing value. And like with Marvel, if you don't have to market anymore, it's like what Josh said, they've arrived. If you don't have to market anymore, you don't have to market anymore. Now with Sony and Paramount, it's very interesting because it may just be a question of, is it financially worth it for us to spend this buku's amount of money and go through all of this hassle to put together something?
So what's the big
no
thing
financial
that,
payoff?
What's the big thing that Sony's got coming out right now?
Fantastic Four. Or
Yeah.
Has that actually come and gone? I don't even know.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't hit yet, for sure.
No, Fantastic
What is the
Four
release
was-
date on Fantastic Four? Do we know?
It should be very soon. I think it's the end of the summer, isn't it?
I don't know.
Or maybe it's the beginning of fall.
I mean, I would assume it would be a summer movie, so you would think that it might be something for San Diego. But I mean, is that a statement of a lack of faith in the movie, or is that a statement in a lack of faith in Comic-Con?
I don't think it's a lack of faith in the movie, because I think that, I think if anything, a lot of the
August 7th.
August 7th?
Yeah.
So that's okay.
So it seems like San Diego would be a great place for them to promote Fantastic Four. Now, I mean, that having been said, I feel like Sony has faith in the movie. I feel like they have taken enough creative jumps and leaps with the story and changing things and changing characters and changing origins.
I think the bar from the super nerd community and the super geek community that goes to Comic-Con could kill this film. If like any negative buzz coming out of Comic-Con for this kind of movie, they're toast.
Yeah, that's true.
They're toast. So why take the gamble?
Yep, I see that. That makes a lot of sense.
That's actually very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they'll show it to critics, like I'm sure, and I'm sure they'll give it to some very friendly or specific people to watch it. But to actually make it available for the vast crowds of Comic-Con is just asking for trouble.
It really
It's
is.
just a room full of the comic book guy from The Simpsons, and they're all going to
And they're all going to be like, that's not what he looks like, over and over and over.
Worst
My Human Torch isn't
reboot
like, well, your
ever.
Human Torch is dead.
The
So
nice little Simpsons there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I don't know. I mean, is it a big deal? Yeah. I'm still not that. I'm pretty sure Marvel's going to be back next year.
I think it's just an interesting thing to consider, because you've got. There's also the flip side of this, where people who attend conventions and the comic book folks who are trying to make money at these conventions are getting choked out by these, by movie productions and by actors, and the way that and there's a balance there, because you have to have a certain number of like talent, TV talent, actors, that kind of thing, to bring enough crowds into your convention to make it monetarily worthwhile. But then it gets to a point where that balance is shifted, and then it's no longer about the comic books, which is what the convention is originally about. And so I feel like this has been an interesting topic of conversation for a lot of those people who are tabling at San Diego Comic-Con and are, interested in how much of that.
An independent artist that wants to get a table at San Diego Comic-Con is asking for trouble at this point. San Diego Comic-Con has left that aspect of their life way in the past. When they started good Lord, when did they start? The late 60s, early 70s or something like that? It was purely about the artists. But even if you look at the name of San Diego Comic-Con, they say that they are a pop culture convention. That's what they say they are. So their focus has shifted far away from independent artists. And they are pop culture. They are putting this out there and really getting it out to more than just this hardcore comic book geek.
They are more money.
They are more money. That is what it boils down to. They are more money. Which I think most of the conventions are right now, which is the problem we talked about a lot, is that most of the major conventions, with a few exceptions, we've been to a few ourselves that were great for independent artists and creators. But I think a lot of them really are, chasing celebrity.
And so here is, and here is the question: if, these. Again, for San Diego Comic-Con, these big companies are paying to be at the convention. The convention is not paying these companies to come out and do things. They are paying to be at the convention. You've got tablers who are paying to be at the convention. You have people buying tickets. So, the convention is not really flying a whole lot of people out and paying their way to be there. People are paying to be there. So at what point are these companies just, they're spending money on the venue, and then
It might be cheaper for Marvel to make their own Marvel Con.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, conventions to me overall, economically, seem like a hand over fist sort of thing. I mean, it almost seems like liquor sales. Like, your markup is so high, you have to just really suck at it to not make money.
That I don't know. I'm not going to get into the budget of that because there's a lot of expenses we don't see as far as, you got to have security.
That's
you got to
true.
have signage.
Pay your staff.
You've got a huge staff. Well, some of them rely on volunteers, which drives me crazy. There's a lot of stuff that goes into budgeting that I can't speak to, but I'm pretty sure they're
But
not
with San
losing
Diego
money.
being Comic-Con being the big breadwinner here and the top dog, I think it is worth discussing, like, how much money is San Diego Comic-Con losing out on? These three companies are not going to be there this year.
I don't know if they're losing money. I can't say. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm not convinced they're losing money. I'm pretty sure it's still sold out. I'm pretty sure hotels
it's going to be
are hard
sold
to
out
find.
no matter what.
I'm pretty sure all the tables are
No,
full.
they'll lose some economic activity and they'll lose a little bit of luster. The question is everyone will be saying, basically, Comic-Con, totally over.
Yeah.
Got too big.
Yeah.
That's
Too
kind
big.
of what
let's
I'm
all,
wondering.
Let's all just do regional.
I'm wondering
ones
if
from
this
now on.
is the tipping point to where we look back historically and say that was the year that San Diego Comic-Con stopped being, or started on
But
the
it's
decline.
it's Comic-Con, South by, all of those things. Every year is the year we say it's jumped the shark.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Every
It's
year is
never
that year because everyone wants to be right and declare that, I was there. I recognized that this was over before everyone else realized it was over. That's just it's just hipster bullshit.
It's just hipster
It's just
bullshit.
hipster bullshit right there.
I'm into it.
You're into hipster bullshit?
I'm into hipster
I'm
bullshit,
into hipster
apparently.
bullshit.
Apparently
That's a
I'm
thing.
into it.
As she strokes Appa lovingly.
The evil Appa. Yeah.
Appa, yes,
You're the ultimate James Bond villain with a fang. Let's move on. What do you got? Do you want to talk about Rat Queens?
So I'm actually pretty excited about this, and I have never played a role-playing game before, so this will be exceptionally interesting to me. One of my favorite indie titles over at Image is called Rat Queens. It's incredible. If you haven't ever seen it, we did a review on it where I described it as the meeting of Lord of the Rings and Bridesmaids.
Which is accurate.
And someone corrected me and was like, I think it's a little less Lord of the Rings and a little more D&D. And I've had several people say, oh yeah, that's totally, I can totally see the D&D thing. And from the get-go, one of the Rat Queen's merchandising images is a 12-sided die with the Rat Queen's logo on one side. And so to me, the fact that people have immediately talked about this story as a role-playing game, and now the fact that the author, Curtis J. Wiebe, we're really bad at last names
Again
here.
with names.
Wiebe, hinted that there may be a role-playing game for the comic coming out, which to me is really exciting. To you, not so much, because there are a lot of role-playing games out there. You're very competitive about your love of role-playing games.
It's not even that. It's just I don't understand, what is going to be unique about a Rat Queens role-playing game. Of course, there's Dungeons and Dragons. You have clearly never played Dungeons and Dragons.
More swearing.
You have clearly
on top
never
of
played.
on top of the assumed allotment of swearing.
Is there in
I
the rules?
assume-
It's like you must use
I don't
the
know.
word.
I think that's how they're going to play this. If Rat Queens is going to be a unique and different role-playing game, it's got to be in the rules.
How do you
the rules
define
have
that?
got to be.
How do you insist that players cuss all the time? You can't define that. That is the entire thing about role-playing games is that you
Well,
own
that was
the
just
character.
an example.
But anyway, my point is, what I was trying to say is there are different rule sets. There's Pathfinder, there's Dungeons and Dragons. The Will Wheaton thing is using the Fate rule set or anything. Are you making a new rule set? How is this going to be different than anything else? If it's just a skin on Dungeons and Dragons, it's not a Rat Queens RPG, it's Dungeons and Dragons. I don't understand.
I think what's
exactly
going to
where
make
we're
it different is going to be the rule play and the availability of character creation.
I don't know what that means.
Or not availability of character creation, but there's got to be some sort of influence from the story on your ability to create characters, something unique that you can do with your characters.
So then that's the rule set. That's all. It's all just about the rule set.
Yeah, it really comes down to the rule set. But I'm excited because I'm excited.
The reality is, if you really like Rat Queens and you like that world, you can sit down and you can play Pathfinder, you can play Dungeons & Dragons, you can play anything else, and you can play those characters just like the Rat Queens characters. You can do that. You can play them however you want. They can be a barbarian gnome that loves to drink ale and get drunk every night after going out and killing orcs. That you can do that. Play it that way.
She's a hobbit, not a gnome.
I just told the gnome that. And I think technically it's a halfling. Excuse me?
Excuse you? Oh.
Is a halfling just a dwarf with furry feet?
No, they're only hobbits. Only ones with furry feet. Halflings don't have furry feet.
I thought a hobbit was a halfling.
I guess she would be.
Well, a hobbit is technically a halfling, but a halfling is not a hobbit.
Yeah.
the crease in your forehead was
There,
perfect.
yeah.
So.
Will, can I get a reaction shot here, please? Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
We got the reaction shot. We'll cut that in. It'll be fine. It'll be good.
So it's interesting. Obviously, like it was just a hint, so we don't
Yeah.
really have a whole lot to go off of. Now, that having been said, I am always going to be fully in support of indie titles that I love, creating new merchandise and creating new and different ways to interact, because you don't even have you have merchandising for your larger titles, your Marvel and your DC, and you have games that you can play and things that you can do, and I feel like they've gotten pretty varied in the marketability and the different products that they offer. But you don't get that. I mean, you barely get T-shirts with some of your favorite indie comics. So to see them working on something different other than a T-shirt or other than jewelry or just like something you just put a brand stamp on, I feel like they're trying to create something unique with its own voice, and I think that's much more valuable and important than a T-shirt.
Well, yeah, no, I get the marketing value for having this kind of merchandise. I just don't see what it's going to be.
Well,
Is
you
it
can
gonna be
play
a
the
skin?
game with me, and then you can find out, and you can tell me your opinion on the game. We'll play together. It'll
Okay,
be fun.
it'll be fun. We'll do a live stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
I would like Chew branded cookware.
Oh my God! Chew branded cookware.
And Walking Dead branded jerky.
How do you feel about the
Yes.
chew? Oh my God!
I know, isn't that dark?
So
That's
sick.
really
I
dark.
love you.
That's
I
super
just
dark.
kissed your forehead right now.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You just got a lob. You can run up.
How do you feel about David Tennant being voice cast as is it McSavoy? I've only read
Chew
the
animated
first
series,
volume
David
of.
Tennant is cast as one of the voice actors in that.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, for Chew?
Chew animated series, yeah.
He's the business partner or the guy who.
The giant fat guy.
Yes,
guy,
the
yeah.
giant. Yes.
Seems like a reasonable casting.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that. I mean,
I actually don't have
all the
I love Chew. I don't think I have a voice actor in mind for that.
Voice acting's a lot easier and harder to fan cast because
Yes,
it literally doesn't matter what the character looks
Yeah,
like.
no, I mean, just look at all the 12 people who've played Harley Quinn lately, and they're all pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
Tara Strong does a
Tara
good one, and Starfire, what's her name, does a good one as well.
Oh, I'm not even going to remember it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to try
no.
anymore. No, not remember it.
But yeah, so I mean, I do think that coming at your marketing and merchandising from a different perspective is always valuable, especially for your indie stuff.
I would agree with that. Skin campaign for Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or something, that makes sense to me. Developing a whole rule set doesn't make sense because that is a big process.
Well, and they did not indicate that they didn't necessarily say that it was going to be its own game. It could be a skin for Dungeons and Dragons. That could be a thing, and I'm into it.
Campaign it. Why not?
I'm into it.
We'll play the campaign. And we'll go to a bar and meet all the rat queens and hang out. And
I will dress up, y'all. I will dress as a character from Rat Queens and then create a character that is different from the character I am dressed as because I like variety.
Next topic.
Next topic, moving on. Kelly Sue.
So Kelly Sue DeConnick is no longer going to be writing Captain Marvel, which is a bummer because she has really revolutionized this character. Carol Danvers has become a huge fan favorite and a name sort of on everyone's lips. She is going to be the first female in the Marvel Universe to get her own movie that we know of. It's been announced 2016, 2018? I think 2018.
It's just nice somebody writing like Carol Danvers and making her vulnerable, which didn't involve her also being an alcoholic.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Which
yes.
was the way they made her vulnerable before.
Yeah, or by, tricking her into a marriage where she was, technically not present and everybody in the Marvel Universe was great on it, but I digress. That's a thing that happened to Carol
digress.
Danvers as well. But it's a heartbreaker because it basically came down to, if at the end of Secret Wars, she was going to have to commit to staying on the title for, I think, 3 more years or something crazy like that, or dropping the title after Secret Wars, and because of the way, and I feel like this is sort of Secret Wars' fault. I kind of want to blame. There's part of me that's like really sad in my heart and wants to like be able to point a finger and blame. It's your fault, Secret Wars. But I don't actually necessarily believe that to be true. And I actually, on the whole, while I feel sadness, I'm actually very excited because this frees her up to spend more time getting me more issues of Bitch Planet. And
milk-fed criminal masterminds.
And working on her production company, getting
that's the thing that
guy
gets
moving
me
along.
going. The fact that she's able to devote more time to getting some of this stuff outside of the comic world and into TV and other things, that I'm really excited about that.
Well, and you read a lot of articles written by, or you read a lot of things written by indie writers who now have their own creator-owned titles, who have left Marvel and DC, and they talk about just the really almost abhorrent way that artists are treated working for the big two. I mean, it's not the most, and you have varying opinions, and obviously certain people can't say a lot because they don't want to burn bridges, so it's a very touchy kind of thing, and it's hard to gauge how much of it is truth and how much is not. However, I think it can be agreed that all artists enjoy working on their own independent projects rather more. Artistically, it's more gratifying to work on your own thing. So while it's always heartbreaking to see one of your favorite writers leave one of your favorite series, especially if it's somebody who, like Kelly Sue, is producing some really grade A quality indie content, it's like, do I want Captain Marvel? Yes. Do I want it more than I want you to bring me a Pretty Deadly TV show or a Bitch Planet movie? No, absolutely friggin' not. No way. Absolutely not.
I think that, every creator wants to work on their own stuff.
Is Bitch Planet just Orange is the New Black in space?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
But it's much more, there is definitely...
Better than Oz in space. Oz in space...
that would be...
There's definitely a more of a feminist tone to it. Many of these women are directly imprisoned because they are non-compliant, because they do things outside of what a very sexist society tells them they are allowed to do.
Yeah.
So, and that is implied in Orange is the New Black, because a lot of the women who are in prison in Orange is the New Black are in prison because of their boyfriends or husbands. And that thing is definitely discussed and talked about. And there is a feminist tone to Orange is the New Black, but the two things are actually, while they have similar concepts, they invoke different conversations.
Porn stash in space.
Porn stash in space. Oh my God.
Would float. Be a floating stash.
That would be great.
Can you imagine each little bristle of hair in
Just
the mustache no longer being held to his face by gravity, so just kind of coming out?
That'd be crazy.
But we do have hope for the next story run of Captain Marvel. It's being taken over by showrunners from Agent Carter. So this gives me hope. Now, my only issue with this is that they are announcing they are rebooting Captain Marvel and calling this title All New, All Different Captain Marvel. It's not all new. It's not all different. Stop saying that. Calling something new and different doesn't make it new and different if you've done it 5 times already. Stop it.
Aren't they calling everything all new, all
and
different now?
It's
everything in Marvel is doing.
Me off. So with comics, the way that they, with the big two, the way that they identify a comic as being successful and decide whether or not they are going to collect it in an edition and produce merchandise and all this other stuff and eventually make a movie if it gets big enough, is by single issue sales. Single issue sales. I don't agree with the system. I don't think it's great. A lot of people prefer to buy trade, and they are just as loyal to the company and just as loyal to the title. But that is how popularity in comics are determined. And I buy single issues. And this retitling of every single friggin' character, all new, all different, is pissing me off. It's fucking up my alphabetizing, and y'all are making me mad.
So wait, that's why you're angry? Because
Yes!
the alphabetizing is not working now?
Yes, it's fucking up my
All right.
alphabetizing.
So
I
then
would
just do
like
it by
all of my
character.
Captain Marvel titles to be together, but I can't because of the alphabet, Mark.
You'll have a
the
Captain.
alphabet.
You'll have a Captain Marvel section.
I did not think that's where you were going.
I didn't think it was either. I was totally surprised.
That was a slow burn. That was good.
I was like, twist. That was like the Sixth Sense. Like, what? I never saw that.
The alphabet.
Oh my God!
I
He
am
never
not
opened
sure.
the door.
I am-
Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, seriously. It's a pet peeve that is actually really frustrating, though. Like, stop calling it all new. Stop calling it all different. It's not new. It's not different. Stop rebooting. Or if you want to reboot, that's fine.
Call it something different.
But
what are you going to call it then? Just it's all Captain Marvel? How do you distinguish?
The same way that all trades title their story arcs. Captain Marvel, whatever the fuck the story's about.
That's what I want the next Captain Marvel to be.
There is such a thing called numbers.
Numbers are good.
Just sequentially just say, okay, this is the next number.
That's right.
Or worst case
Captain
scenario,
Marvel, volume
next
2.
volume.
Next volume,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Volume 2.
Yeah.
That's actually how if you look at Wonder Woman, there have been 3 Wonder Woman reboot. So you go back and you look at like Marvel database or Marvel Classic Comics collection. They have Volume 1, Volume 2. And when they did a reboot, it's referred to as a new volume. I don't understand why this system is so difficult. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
Next topic.
Moving on.
Alphabet.
Yay, moving on. Those are all our, we get to the video of the week.
The video of the week.
So, we have a lot of varied tastes on the show. We don't just talk about comics. That's not all we do. We have a lot of things. Today, pretty much is all about comics. Last time there was a lot of video game stuff, and Danny was like,
I did okay.
You did all right. No, you did all right. Yeah, you did okay. Anyway, the video of this week.
I'm gonna drown you.
It's a dance video. Because I'm going to admit, I have a secret thing. It's not really a secret. I don't really hide it at all. I love dance videos. I absolutely love them. They're amazing.
Should I play this?
Yeah, absolutely play that.
Can I play?
You can totally play
Nope.
it. So this is a new dance video that it just popped up on my feed. Oh, I totally Trisha Miranda. Sorry. Trisha Miranda is the choreographer for these things. And this studio just got everybody that learned the choreography to this. It's a Nicki Minaj song. And it's just ridiculous. I could watch this video all day. If you just want to relax at the end of the day and just have some eye candy, you sit down and you watch this dance video, you're going to think to yourself, I totally wish I could dance like that. Yes. I totally wish I could dance like that. I can say right now 100% if I tried to do this stuff, my knee would explode. It would just explode. My legs would shatter in 20 places.
One of my favorite things about watching dance videos versus dance music videos is everybody here looks different. You've got all sorts of different age groups. This is a hobby that a lot of different kinds of people participate in, and that's the real world. Music videos, not so much.
It's true.
Not so much.
That really is one of the things that I like about this.
This is much more indicative of dance culture.
Yeah, this video in particular, and she does several videos like this where she takes everybody from the studio and in the back it says unity and diversity. And she makes sure to focus people of different races, body types, ages, everybody doing the same thing and showing that you can do it. And it's really cool because even though I will never be able to do that, seeing all these different people, representation is important, makes me say, I could be a dancer. I could do the thing. I could not be a dancer.
Yeah,
I could absolutely not be a dancer. I will say, probably the best people in here. Actually, I think we missed the best person in here. I think she was a second dancer in this particular video. She was ridiculous. But the kids in this thing, I am so blown away by the kids in this video. You're going to watch this thing, and you're going to look at these kids.
Man, they're limber little fuckers.
No kidding. They're kind of ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous how these kids are. Can we cut to the second video? Because there's another one. This is the Nicki Minaj. These kids. These kids right here. That was the end of it. And it's over. We lost the end of it. Check it out. Trisha Miranda. Check out her YouTube channel. I mean, these videos got 10 million views on it. I mean, we're talking Taylor Swift numbers there. See how I brought her in? We're talking Taylor Swift numbers when it comes to videos,
Are you legitimately putting a Taylor Swift shrine on my set?
Working on
we're
it.
just gonna add a
Each
candle
week we're going to add something on there. You love it. You know you love it.
Wicked creepy.
That is a matter of opinion.
It's a matter of opinion, sir.
I beg to differ, but still.
That's a matter of opinion. That's what that means.
Come on. I mean, we got Stargirl. What's the difference? We got a picture of Stargirl. We got a picture of Taylor Swift.
They are both fictional characters, so. Damn.
Oh, that's a thing that just happened right there. Yeah, so anyway, check this stuff out. Watch the videos. Feel sad that you never actually took dance classes in your
I took dance classes and I still can't do that.
Really?
Yeah, jazz tap and a little ballet.
Could you try?
No.
I will say, for our wedding, my wife and I, we did have like a choreographed swing dance for our first dance. That is actually, it wasn't bad.
I want to choreograph a hip hop dance at my wedding.
Terrible.
What is swing dancing? Is terrible?
No. The dance that my wife and I did choreograph.
Oh, really?
It did not go well.
It didn't go well? What's that?
I don't think I was paying enough attention. I think it's probably the problem.
Did you forget
in
all
the
the
dance
steps?
classes?
You were forgetting all the stuff?
It was lame.
It was just bad. Are there videos existing of this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you're going to bring that next week?
No,
Come on.
but I'm in charge of editing them, which I still haven't done.
You still haven't done?
No.
Wow. You should probably do this. Anyway, check out Christian Miranda.
Absolutely. So now, do we want to argue this out, or because we've had a very compelling conversation this week about fan fiction, and Daily Dot put out an article that was really fantastic, sort of about your like guide to fan fiction.
Yeah.
And Mark and I have very differing opinions on fan. That was a good picture actually for the fan fiction.
Hey, that's a great picture for the fan fiction.
Slash
Well
fic. But you know, so we like to close the show out with a debate, and I felt like this was a really, really legitimate one because sometimes fan fiction can go so wrong.
That is perfect.
So wrong.
Oh my God, I love this. Sonic and the Flash.
There are
Oh
things
my
that
God.
fan fiction does that should never be done by anyone ever.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
But so wrong, it's right.
So wrong, that's right.
Now, on the flip side of this, you have very legitimate slash fic, very legitimate fan fiction, and I love fan fiction. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful contribution to the fandom, to the space.
Yes.
You seem to have stipulations under which fan fiction is.
You know what? I was thinking about
acceptable.
this. I was thinking about this earlier, and I want to reinforce something. I am a fan of fanfic. I don't read it, but I support it. I've had people that have written fanfic of some of my series that I've done. I support that. I love the fact that people are that engaged with these characters and these stories to create some fiction within that universe. I get that. A lot of this, I think you can tie it into my feelings towards, honestly, look at Mass Effect 3. When Mass Effect 3 came out, there was this huge outcry that people were so furious that that's how Mass Effect 3 ended, and they petitioned that BioWare change the ending to Mass Effect 3. No, that is not the story they wrote. The people that created this story had a specific story that they wanted to tell. They told the story. You don't like the story, that's fine. Write a different story. Now, if you want to tell stories within that universe, great. But changing the story, the fundamental core aspects of the story, it's not what I consider fanfic at that point. That's revisions. And revisions are not fan fiction.
Well, but changing the ending is very different from changing key points of the narrative that lead up to the ending. Like changing the ending to me is very different. Like,
Also, who is it hurting?
Huh? Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Is that who is this hurt? Like I know 1.5 million people who hated the ending, the little end chapter of Harry Potter.
Oh, the little like afterward thing?
And would much rather have had any number of 4 million gazillion different things happen. I don't think people were opposed to there being an epilogue. I think people just thought the epilogue sucked. And I don't see the harm in like rewriting that. It doesn't change the whole story. And I don't even see the harm in rewriting the whole story and changing the whole story. Is it going to be good? Probably not.
And sometimes
Should
it
they
can.
get
Sometimes
paid
it
for
can be
this?
better.
Sometimes it could be better.
And
sure.
look, and great, there are great examples of that. How it can be better, how it can be worse. Look, Jewish. There's the Bible. The Old Testament. As far as I'm concerned, the New Testament is Bible fan fiction. But it is good Bible fan fiction. It improves upon the original. It's got better storytelling. It's more interesting. Then there's the Book of Mormon, which is also Bible fan fiction. It's not quite as compelling a read. Some people totally dig it, and they totally should. But yeah, fan fiction can be very powerful and very, I just wanted to make fun of religion.
I noticed that. I have a feeling we're going to get some comments.
There is
I could
a
be wrong.
really, really good case. PBS Idea Channel makes a really fantastic, and I included a link for the video. It might be there, it may not, but PBS Idea Channel makes a really, really good case specifically for slash fan fiction, basically saying that the reason that slash fan fiction exists, particularly in the queer community, is it fills the hole that is left by a lack of representation. People people are imagining Korra and Asami together because they don't, partially to fill a void for a lack of, bisexual, pansexual, or two female characters, a female good lead who is into girls. And this is sort of one of those things where it was fan fiction, it was headcanon, and then it became headcanon for the creators, and it became canon.
For the record, it was always headcanon for the creators. They've come out publicly and said from day one they had an affinity for Korra.
Because
and
the
Asami.
original statement that came out was that it developed over time as the characters developed and grew.
No, that's something that they've planned from early. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I will also say
I have
every
read
time you say
articles that say
slash fan fiction, I think of Slash from Guns N' Roses just being input into every piece of fiction. Like just which would be phenomenal. Just slash fan fiction. Like
that would be amazing.
Slash yeah.
Oh my God! Just put slash in everything.
Yeah. But if it's slash, then it's just it's basically it's gay slash. With like Slash and Axel or
everybody likes their own thing. But there is a really
Slash is held up better than Axel too.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's actually true.
I think it's a really good conversation to talk about because so many people write fan fiction and so many people love reading fan fiction. And to me, it is an intense compliment on the work. But like right now, I'm watching Game of Thrones and George R.R. Martin has very strong opinions against fan fiction because he doesn't want people to change things in his story. And I want to change everything in that friggin' story because it's horrible. Everything is horrible. Everything is horrible. And I want to throw myself off a cliff. And so I could see, especially with a story like Game of Thrones, where one decision can change the entire universe, but you want so badly to see something else happen. I can see wanting to create fan fiction for that kind of thing.
Then why not create your own work?
Because you've got 2 or 3 books worth of canon before that decision.
So why not create your own work?
You create your own work.
What? Yeah,
that is exactly the same up until like the second book, and then it's
isn't
different.
that what 50 Shades of Grey was for Twilight?
Yeah, but that was horrible.
What? That's not the point, though. That's pretty much what somebody did.
Imaginary Game of Thrones fan.
I mean, if you're not happy with it, write your own work. But if you've got an author that puts all of their time and energy, and they love that story, and that is their story, let that story exist. If you don't like the way it goes, create your own story. If you want to call it fanfic, great, but don't change the main story.
Well, it's just fear of the blank page. You've already got a nice universe I can work within this. I don't have to create from scratch. So my recommendation is just change the names to protect the innocent.
Which is what 50
if they're
Shades
vampires, make them werewolves. If they're werewolves, make them elephant men.
Yes.
If they're elephant men, make them elves.
By elephant men?
Everything just kind of shifts down a notch.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. But in any event, wrap this puppy up.
Yeah. Well, tell us what you think. Tell us, absolutely, share with us. Tell us your thoughts on fanfic. We got our Twitter handles down below.
Mark Gardner, ATX, Danni Danger.
Danni Danger. And in the meantime, this has been DotGeek. We do this every week. Come back. Maybe next week's news will be more exciting.
I think we had
very
brilliant conversation.
All right, Will, take us home.
Take us home.
Take us home, Will.